Welcome to the deep dive. So today you've sent us down a pretty adventurous path, I'd say.
hmm
We're looking at this PDF, Acrobatic Sex Positions. So crazy, we dare you to try them.
Right? It's quite something.
Yeah, so our mission really is to pull out the interesting bits, the potential upsides to all this maneuvering, and maybe have a bit of a laugh, but keep our feet on the ground, metaphorically speaking.
Exactly. You want to get up to speed, understand the core ideas, and this source is, well, it's comprehensive, maybe a bit daunting.
A bit, yeah.
But we're here to sort of navigate it, pull out what's actually useful, spark maybe some aha moments.
Yeah.
Without, making anyone feel like they need to join the circus.
Right. No Cirque du Soleil training required, hopefully.
Hmm.
And the book kicks off with something that, honestly, it kind of hit home.
Oh, yeah. What's that?
It says most couples only really use like 3 positions. 3.
Yeah, that's often cited.
And it uses this analogy, like only eating 3 foods.
Mhm.
Says you might be missing out on delicious treats. Makes you think, doesn't it?
It really does. That's a
Yeah.
great starting point because it immediately shifts it from just like novelty for novelty's sake
Yeah.
to potentially enriching a big part of life, breaking routine, getting the mind and body engaged in new ways,
Yeah.
like trying a new spice in your cooking kind of thing.
Exactly. And it's not just the physical sensations, is it? The intro talks about how trying these, more elaborate positions
Uh,
can actually build connection. It mentions laughter, teamwork, even vulnerability. Like
Oh.
working through it together brings you closer.
that's a really interesting angle because those shared experiences, especially if they're a little outside the comfort zone,
Right.
maybe a bit awkward, maybe a challenge, and they often do create a stronger bond. You laugh because someone's leg is in the wrong place,
Totally.
and suddenly defenses drop. It's shared playfulness. It's
Yeah.
about discovering things together.
Now, okay, before anyone gets images of like human pretzels,
Yeah,
the book is very clear on safety. It really hammers home pacing yourself, like knowing your fitness level,
crucial.
not getting overambitious, and definitely stopping if anything hurts. Safety first.
Absolutely vital. I mean, they call them acrobatic for a reason, right?
Yeah.
So you need that physical self-awareness. Go slow, listen to your body. It's about exploration, not, endurance tests or injuries.
They even have this warming up section, which I found kind of funny.
Oh, yeah. Like what?
It's not your typical stretching. It's like kiss chase, kiss ups, which sound like intimate push ups.
That's absolutely.
Feet bends and lick it. It definitely sets a playful mood.
It does. And that highlights the mindset aspect, doesn't it? It's
Yeah.
not just physical prep. It's about lightening the mood,
Mm-hmm.
maybe getting over some self-consciousness before you try, dangling upside down or something.
Right. And lastly, before we jump into specific positions, a lot of them claim specific benefits. Yeah.
That's a big theme.
Like better G-spot stimulation, deeper penetration, more clit stimulation. We'll see that pop up, I guess.
Definitely. Many are designed with those specific goals in mind.
Okay, so let's dive in. Position number 1. Pick me up. How does this one work?
All right, pick me up. So it starts with the woman in doggy style.
Okay, standard enough.
Right. Then the man, kneeling behind her, enters. But then, and this is the key bit, he lifts her up by the waist so her legs come off the ground.
Whoa, okay. That sounds like that needs some serious core strength from the guy. And balance.
It does, yeah.
Uh.
It requires a good bit of strength. But the claimed benefit is that this angle, this elevation,
Uh-huh.
allows for deeper penetration and more direct, intense G-spot stimulation for her. And for him, well, it offers a very clear view and easier clitoral access.
Okay. And any tips so you don't, like, drop someone?
Huh.
Yeah.
Good point. For the man, a really firm grip on her waist is key. Essential.
Makes sense.
And they suggest the woman can actively tilt her hips up to enhance that G-spot contact.
Oh.
And they mention core strength, like from Pilates, could be helpful for both partners to hold it steady.
Pilates for sex. Got
Yeah.
it. All right, number 2. X-rated. The name alone suggests
Oh.
something.
It definitely does. And the position kind of lives up to it. Man's on his back, legs spread, knees up.
Okay.
Woman gets on top, but she faces his head
Mm.
and then leans back on her arms. So your bodies make a sort of X.
Ah, I see the X. Okay. So she's really driving the action here. Pace, depth.
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah.
That's the main benefit for her. She controls the rhythm and how deep it goes.
And for him, aside from the obvious view.
Well, yeah, the view is described as graphic. Plus, his hands are totally free to explore, caress, whatever.
Yeah.
They even note it can be particularly good for well-endowed men.
Right. And the acrobatic tips for this X-rated position, how do you make it work best?
For deeper penetration, they suggest tilting both bodies slightly sideways. Her feet move more towards his shoulders, his thighs wrap around her.
Okay, tilting.
He can also use his hands on her hips to pull her closer, but they do warn them needs more upper body strength from her.
Hmm.
A slightly easier way to deepen it, they say, is just for her to sit up straighter. Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay, only two, and the creativity is noticeable. Let's hit number 3, front row seat.
Front row seat, yeah. Again, the name gives a clue about the view, especially for the man.
Right.
So the woman is on her back, and then she brings her legs way up, like over her head, until her knees are near her ears.
Wow. Okay, that requires some serious flexibility.
Definitely. Then the man squats down on top of her.
And the supposed thrills for this
Yeah.
is rather compact arrangement.
They say it maximizes the depth of penetration, really lets the man use his length. For her, it's meant to be big on G-spot thrills because of that angle.
Uh-huh.
Plus, her hands are right there to caress his testicles, perineum. And they add that as he climaxes, he can lean forward onto his hands to go even deeper.
Okay. What about advice for managing this
Mm.
pretzel?
If she finds holding her legs there tough, she can use her hands to support her hips.
Ah, okay.
That gives stability, but also lets her tweak the pelvic angle a bit, which can change the sensation for both. Right. Moving along, number 4, the skewered hurdler. That name paints quite a picture.
It really does. Vivid.
Mm,
So, skewered hurdler, man lies back, maybe propped up on pillows, or against a sofa.
okay.
The woman straddles him, but with one leg stretched straight out to the side like she's doing a sideways split. She uses her hands on the floor or bed for balance.
Okay, so she's got one leg bent, one straight out,
Uh-huh.
and she's doing the moving. What's the benefit for her?
Yeah, she controls the pace.
Mm-hmm.
And the big thing is she can grind her clitoris against his inner thigh while she moves.
Simultaneous stimulation.
Exactly. And for him, his hands are free, easy access to her breasts, other places. They actually suggest this one might be good for guys new to the whole acrobatic thing. Kind of an entry point.
Interesting. And if you want to level up your hurdling.
Well, if a woman is super bendy, she can lean forward and rest her head on her own ankle.
Whoa.
Apparently, that gives more constant clitoral contact. And if the man is also flexible enough for a split, that angle could stimulate his perineum, his male G-spot area.
Okay, flexibility is definitely a recurring theme. Number 5 is L is for loving. Sounds a bit gentler, maybe.
It is a bit less extreme, yeah, more grounded. Woman lies on her side. She lifts her top leg, holding it up with her arm.
Right.
Man positions himself behind her to enter. His body is the vertical line of the L, hers is the horizontal.
Oh, hey, you can picture the L. Seems manageable. Benefits.
It gives both partners pretty easy access to stroke her breasts or clitoris during sex.
Handy.
And they also mention men who have a thing for legs might find this one visually quite appealing.
Fair enough. Acrobatic tip for maximizing the L.
They suggest a bullet vibrator could be easily added here for extra clit focus.
Okay.
And if her raised leg gets tired, which it might, she can rest it on his chest for a break. That also changes the angle slightly. New sensations.
Smart. Okay, number 6. Feet and inches. Sounds precise.
It does suggest a focus on detail. So feet in inches. Woman on her back, man on top, but reversed it. His head is down by your feet.
Reversed missionary, sort of.
Kind of, yeah. Then she raises her legs and arches her hips up so he can enter. Now, the key part is they both consciously flex their pelvic floor muscles together in unison.
Wow, okay. That requires some coordination and body awareness. What's the payoff for that synchronized flexing?
The idea is that this unusual angle, plus her arched hips, presses the head of the penis right onto the G-spot. And they say this can potentially trigger female ejaculation for some. They even jokingly suggest keeping a towel nearby.
Okay, good to know. And the acrobatic advice for mastering this muscle control?
For her, it helps to practice engaging those pelvic floor muscles just lying on her back, lifting her pelvis gently.
Practice makes perfect.
Right. Then, during sex, as he's thrusting, she can slowly lift her feet higher off the bed while keeping those muscles engaged. That deepens it, intensifies things. Oh, and they mentioned she might need to consciously relax her vaginal muscles a bit at first to make entry easier because of the tension.
Right. Counterintuitive maybe, but makes sense. Okay, number 7 is just, 14. Very direct.
Yeah, just the number. It apparently refers to the shape you make. Man stands up.
Okay.
Woman basically jumps up, wraps her legs around his waist and thighs, and positions herself to slide onto him. Then she uses her pelvic floor muscles to create the movement. He helps by tensing his butt muscles.
That sounds incredibly dynamic and probably a workout. What are the rewards for that effort?
Supposedly great for hitting the G-spot, lots of pelvic friction, good clitoral stimulation because you're so close.
Face to face, too, right?
Exactly. So lots of chances for kissing, caressing. And yeah, they call it a surprisingly good thigh workout for both because you're holding that position, increase of blood flow, sensitivity.
Okay, but what if you're not quite up for the full leap of faith? Any modifications?
Yes, definitely. A less strenuous version. She rests her butt on the edge of a bed. He might need to kneel a bit to get the right alignment. Still aims for that deep penetration and clit stimulation, just without the big acrobatic lift. Gotcha. Makes sense. Next, number 8. Advanced B. Sounds like a step up from something simpler.
It is a more complex setup, yeah. Man sits up, legs spread like an M.
Okay.
Woman sits on top, facing him, legs in a V, but then she hooks her legs over his shoulders.
Hooks legs over shoulders.
Yeah.
Wow.
And wraps her arms around his neck for balance. Then he leans back on his arms for support.
That is quite intertwined. What's the buzz about the advanced B? Sorry, couldn't resist.
Huh. Well, the angle and depth you get here apparently make G-spot stimulation almost unavoidable.
Hmm.
They also say it's good for smaller guys, lets them achieve maximum depth. Plus, the view for him is advantageous.
Right. And how do you get into this advanced B state safely? Acrobatic tips.
I strongly advise starting in a regular woman on top position with him sitting up. Then try hooking the legs over.
Ah, okay. Don't go straight for the shoulder hooks.
Exactly. And it's crucial he only leans back on his arms after she feels secure and balanced. Avoid any tumbles. Good call. Okay, number 9. Sporting of swans. Evokes grace, maybe intimacy.
That's the vibe, yeah. More intimate, connected. Man sits, knees spread, engaging his pelvic floor.
Active engagement. Okay.
Woman sits astride him. One foot flat on the floor for stability, the other leg hooked gently over his shoulder.
One leg hooked. Okay.
Then she uses her thigh muscles and kegels to control the movement. He also stays engaged with his pelvic floor.
So both partners are pretty active here. What are the benefits?
High intimacy, lots of eye contact, kissing potential, very romantic, possibly.
Nice.
He can easily stroke her back. They mentioned tantric ideas about back energy and lots of clitoral stimulation from the ankle and movement.
And how do you maintain the swan-like grace? Balance tips.
She can wrap her arms gently around his neck for balance, but emphasis on gently, no pulling.
Right.
And he can help by putting a hand on her lower back, or as they put it, gripping her bum to help guide things.
Okay. Number 10, the wallflower. Sounds shy, but I bet it's not.
You bet right. It uses a wall, but not for leaning against shyly. It's an intimate aid, as they say.
An intimate aid, okay.
Woman stands sideways to the wall, leans forward a bit, raises one leg, using the wall for support. Man slides in behind her, often using one hand to help support her raised leg.
So the wall gives stability for a different angle. What's special about the wallflower experience?
Allows for very deep penetration. Can give good labial stimulation too. Easy clit access for him.
And you can still make eye contact.
Yeah, the side-on angle often allows for that. Oh, and they specifically mentioned it's good for men with more girth. Comfortable for both.
Interesting. And if you want to ditch the wall, the more acrobatic version.
More challenging. Definitely needs more balance from both. He skips the wall and supports her torso with his hands instead.
Okay.
But big warning. Not if either person has back problems. Don't try that one.
Noted. Okay, 11 is quite something. Handstand and deliver. Sounds like peak acrobatics. And requires trust.
It's definitely up there. One of the most gymnastic ones. Woman does a headstand, using her arms for support.
Headstand. Wow.
Knees bent towards her chest. Man stands astride her, facing away from her head, and enters from there.
Facing away? Okay, that's an inversion. What's the reward for being upside down?
They claim very deep, sort of in-depth penetration because of gravity and the angle. Also gives the man relatively easy access for anal play, if that's something they're into.
Okay. Crucial tips for pulling off the handstand and deliver without incident.
If the angle's tricky for penetration, he can try leaning forward onto his hands, stretching out. Changes his angle.
Right.
If that's still hard, maybe if he's less flexible, he can stand in front of her and bend over her body to enter. Different approach.
Okay. Options. Number 12, banana split. Hopefully less slippery than the dessert.
No. It's more about the visual, the openness. Man leans back against something solid, wall, sofa, desk.
Okay, supported.
Woman stretches her legs wide, straddling him. Like a split, hence the name.
Ah, okay. So it's about access and view. main benefits.
Yeah, basically super easy, open access to all her bits, as they put it, for oral, manual, whatever.
Yeah.
His hands are totally free while maintaining deep penetration.
Right. Can you add movement to this stretched out position?
Yeah, if he wants more action, he can grip her hips with his hands and help guide her thrusting.
Okay.
And for an extra twist, if he's super flexible and can also do a split, apparently it puts his testicles in a good spot for interaction.
Okay, then. 13 is the tow truck. Sounds a bit forceful.
Not necessarily force, but definitely an unusual angle. Woman's on all fours, like doggy style.
Right.
Man stands, presses his butt against hers, and then leans forward to enter that higher, slightly different angle.
Coming in from above almost.
Mm.
Might feel different. Yeah, benefits.
They suggest this angle stimulates more nerve endings in the first few inches of the vagina,
Interesting.
and leaning further forward apparently gives deeper G-spot pressure.
Okay. Any tips for maneuvering the tow truck?
She can balance on one hand, freeing the other one up
Yeah.
to add clitoral stimulation, or reach back and caress his testicles. Multitasking.
Got it. Okay, last one for this section, number 14. Prima ballerina. Sounds elegant. Maybe needs balance.
It does have that graceful image, yeah, and needs balance. Woman faces a wall, one arm out for support, raises one leg to the side.
Like a ballet pose.
Kind of. Man stands between her legs, uses one hand to hold her raised leg steady, other hand on her neck or hip for his balance.
So mutual support. What's the payoff for this balletic move?
For him, they say it's a saucy view of her bum and thighs.
Saucy. Oh.
For her, the angle apparently emphasizes the feeling of his girth.
Right. And the encore. The more advanced ballerina.
If she has amazing balance and trusts him completely, try it without the wall. More challenge.
Brave.
Or, for more control, he can lift her by the waist entirely, gives him total command of the movement, adds a bit of a dominant feel, maybe.
Wow. Okay, well, that's just the first 14 out of 69 position listed in this thing.
69, yeah. It's expensive.
The sheer variety, the creativity, it's pretty remarkable.
It really is. And this first batch gives a good flavor, right? From fairly simple tweaks to stuff needing serious flexibility, strength, coordination.
Totally. That number, over 60, just shows how much potential there is beyond the usual few.
Exactly, beyond the routine.
And we should probably mention the author, right? There's an about the author, Emily Dubberly.
Yeah, it's good to know who put this together.
It highlights her background, writing about sexuality, books. She created a popular erotica site. Gives it some credibility, I think.
Absolutely. It mentions her background is in social psychology, specializing in sexuality, plus practical experience writing advice and erotica. It suggests she understands the nuances, you know?
Yeah, it's not just random positions, presumably based on anatomy and what feels good.
Likely, yeah. Based on understanding erogenous zones and how different angles work.
There's also an acknowledgement section that made me chuckle. She thanks people for illustrations and research, including someone for painstakingly watching hours of pornography to help choose positions.
Huh. That's brilliant.
Yeah?
Adds a bit of humor, a human touch.
Yeah, and maybe hints at the research methods.
Possibly. Reinforces it's based on some kind of real-world observation, maybe some practical testing. Who knows?
And finally, really important, we have to circle back to that disclaimer at the end.
Yes, absolutely crucial.
It warns readers very clearly that acrobatic sex has risks. You have to take responsibility for your safety, know your limits, take precautions.
Cannot stress that enough.
Don't try stuff beyond your experience, your fitness. Minimize injury risk.
Exactly. It's presented in a fun, adventurous way, but safety is paramount. Caution, communication with your partner, realistic assessment of what you can actually do, non-negotiable.
Okay, so wrapping up this deep dive into acrobatic sex. We've really just skimmed the surface of this huge collection.
Just a taster, yeah.
But we've seen how these positions aim for unique feelings, targeting specific spots, maybe building intimacy through laughter and challenge. Lots of focus on G-spot, clitoral stimulation, but also visual stuff, tactile stuff for both partners.
Precisely. And what it really underscores is how easy it is to get stuck in a rut, right? Even with something like sex.
Yeah.
By showing so many options, it kind of nudges you to think, maybe there's more pleasure, more connection out there that we're missing just because of habit. Or maybe being a bit scared to try something new.
Yeah, exactly. Which leads us to that final thought for you, the listener. Thinking about all this inventiveness, the potential benefits, it does make you wonder, doesn't it? How much of our own experience is just shaped by habit, by staying in the comfort zone? Could trying even one or two of these unlock something unexpected? More pleasure, maybe a deeper, more playful connection? Pushing boundaries of what feels good.
It's a fascinating question.
What might you discover if you dared to try something? Just a little, or maybe a lot.
Hmm.
More acrobatic.